The UFC rankings are out, and we are in our new home as part of the UFC corporate campus at the UFC Performance Institute, but they wouldn't let us in yet because they're still building it. I'm Matt Parrino.
Yeah, sorry guys. Yet again, I've promised and not delivered. Maybe next week we'll be in here. Anyway, we opened May 22nd, so we'll be open by then. We're lost. They're literally just building the octagons right now. I wanted to shoot the show with the octagon being built in slow-mo behind us.
There's too much stuff in there.
I have to wear a hard hat and such.
There's no walking room.
None.
UFC 211 is coming on May 13th. It is Junior Dos Santos taking on Stipe Miocic for the UFC heavyweight title. Did you watch the first fight, Forrest? JDS, the challenger, took out Stipe Miocic by decision. He won in all the scorecards.
So, hence he didn't take him out. He won an excellent fight. That would be like my heavyweight fight of the year. What was that, 2 or 3 years
2014.
ago? Oh my gosh, so 3 years ago. Wow. Time flies when you're punching people in the face. I think Stipe's gotten better, and I think Dos Santos has kind of stayed the same.
Mm-hmm. You look at those first 2 rounds. I went back, rewatched the fight. Stipe was getting the better of the exchanges early in that fight. If you look at the numbers, Stipe attempted 18 takedowns in that fight. He only landed 1. So he was having success with the stand-up, but he was still trying to wrestle. Maybe wrestle a little less this time around.
Maybe just chain his wrestling better. You know, shoot the takedown, try to take the guy down, and then hit him on the way up. So the reason I wouldn't say don't try as many takedowns is because you do not want to be in a boxing match with JDS. You want to make him uncomfortable. You want him to have to think about kicks and takedowns. You want to change his stance a little bit and take away some of his weapons. Because if you get in a straight boxing match, he's a dude. He's a bad dude.
You have Junior Dos Santos challenging. Then you look at the top 5. You have Alistair Overeem taking on Fabricio Verdum later.
That's a great fight.
Then you got the Predator, Francis Ngannou, just out there chomping at the bit to get a hold of this title. Who should get the next crack at whoever wins between JDS and Stipe?
I mean, you just said the winner of such and such and such, and Overeem and Verdum. Both, well, Overeem's never been a champion, but he's beaten some champions. And he's been a champion in other organizations. And Verdum, former champion.
We have a lot to get to. This is a huge fight card in Dallas. The strawweight title is on the line. Joanna Jedrzejczyk taking on Jessica Andrade, maybe the toughest challenger to date. What do you think?
I don't know that it's her toughest test yet. I feel like her last test was pretty steep. So I think she just went 5 rounds with a very tough Caroline Kowalkiewicz.
So that was pretty solid for us. I like it.
You know, she's been in the deep water before, as someone says. So she'll be able to swim. I don't even know how that, in the deep waters, like how does that analogy even go?
When you get out into the deep waters, there's a lot of sharks, and there's a lot of sharks in the welterweight division, and that's where we're going. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal is the favorite against Damian Maia. Are you kidding me? Jorge Masvidal came out and said that he's not afraid to go to the ground because of his defensive wrestling and jiu-jitsu skills. Can he win there?
No, he should be afraid to go to the ground. You want to touch Maia, you want to stay away from him, you don't want to be on the floor with that guy. I mean, you can say what you want to say, but that's like saying I'm going to box with AJ, Anthony Johnson.
Yair Rodriguez at featherweight, number 7, stepping up his game to take on the number 2 ranked Frankie Edgar. This one's going to be fun. What do you think about this fight?
Well, we just talked about Masvidal Maia and the difference in stand-up and ground. Obviously, Frankie Edgar's got the advantage being a lifelong wrestler against Yair on the ground. But one thing I can say Yair does, when you watch his footage, when you watch his behind the scenes, he wrestles. He wrestles with good people. He wrestles a lot. And if he gets taken down, he's not going to be like a fish out of water.
We're talking a lot about water.
I'm sorry for the horrible analogies. He's going to be okay. He's going to be able to survive in there, and he'll be able to get up. He'll be able to use his length and quickness. But Frankie Edgar, near to say more, literally the embodiment of a Rocky movie, is fighting. That's awesome.
When these two are standing, I would say it's safe to say that Yair Rodriguez is the overwhelming favorite. But when this fight goes to the ground, look for Frankie Edgar to be the man.
So, I mean, what you say if this was a kickboxing match, but it's not. It's an MMA fight. So while there's some truth, Yair's probably the more exotic, better striker. Frankie Edgar's game and how he changed wrestling and striking into clinching and knees kind of negates some of Yair's fanciness and length and speed.
We've been talking a lot about the flyweight division in recent weeks. We have a big fight coming up. Henry Cejudo, number 2, against number 6 ranked Sergio Pettis. Sergio Pettis has been the guy people have been talking about in this division on the come up for years. Does he have enough to take out Henry Cejudo, a guy who's rapidly improving on the feet and has that Olympic wrestling?
It's hard to say, but one thing I can say with certainty is this is Sergio Pettis' toughest fight. This is not Henry Cejudo's toughest fight.
Cejudo actually, surprisingly, doesn't really use a lot of his wrestling since coming over to MMA. He likes to stand and bang. Do you think he'll use a little bit more of it in this fight against Pettis, who also likes to stand?
I think he will use more of it. If you look at his last fight with Joe B, he didn't necessarily want to wrestle somebody that has mastered the scramble as Joe B has. We've seen Pettis be taken down and held down. You never really see Joe B getting held down, so I think he will wrestle a little more against Pettis.
And finally, Eddie Alvarez taking on Dustin Poirier in a great matchup. What do you think about this one?
I mean, stylistically, it's two guys that are relatively similar. Poirier might have a little more polish. Alvarez, does have a better wrestling pedigree, a little better wrestling background, and despite the Conor McGregor fight, he's got a great chin and good power.
Don't miss UFC 211 live on pay-per-view Saturday, May 13th. It is stacked. It is crazy. I'm going to be there. He's going to be there. A little road trip for you,
I'm going to be there.
You doing a little Metro PCS hour?
Going to Metro
What's
PCS
it called?
Who knows?
Okay.
Facebook Live with Metro PCS. I'm your host, Forrest Griffin, talking about things and stuff, mostly fight related. So
and next week we'll actually be inside the Performance Institute, and maybe we'll have a special guest. We don't like to make promises around here.
It might be 2 weeks.